everyone. Welcome to Collection Connections Late to the Party Movie Reviews, where we review movies that are 10 years old or older, and we look at it through the perspective of, let's see, 3 millennials and 3 Xers. Did the math on that, guys. So you guys get to be the millennials. Yay. This week's movie is the classic blockbuster Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. Directed by Steven Spielberg, music composed by the ever-living John Williams, screenplay Lawrence Kasdan, starring Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, Karen Allen as Marion Ravenwood, Paul Freeman as Belloc, John Rhys Davies as Salah, Ronald Lacey as Major Arnold Tote, with his crazy melted hand thing. I remember that was one of my favorite things when I was a kid. So let's get cracking on this, guys. Does this movie hold up? Somebody go ahead. I don't have to direct it.
It was pretty fun. It's adventurous. It shows you.
Curse of Poltergeist is still upon us.
It's the curse. That was rad.
Okay.
Continue.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid movie. I watched it with my son, and he loved it. And he's 6, going on 7, and he was really into the movie. It had action, adventure. During a lot of the talkings, he wasn't like really into it, but when he got back into it with the action and adventure and the snakes and all the different stuff that this movie has to offer, I think it totally holds up. I would hate to ever see them remake this because we've already seen something of that in this last 20 years, and we didn't need that.
Was that the first time that Grayson had seen this movie?
Yes, and we've been watching all of them now. I refuse to show him Crystal Skull though.
That's good parenting.
Parenting done right.
I think that the setting of the what is it, the 30s? This takes place in the 30s. 36. I think that I think that the setting also helps it kind of stay in that it helps preserve it. I loved it. It didn't feel dated. It felt awesome. Having watched just little pieces here and there and getting to sit down and watch it from beginning to end, and it was freaking amazing, to be honest with you guys. You guys know I'm a huge Uncharted fan, so it was a lot of fun to see where they got their inspiration from, and a lot of the cool stuff that he did is what you do in the game. So I kind of work backwards. But yeah, I think it definitely holds up, and it's like Isaac said. I really hope and I wish that they don't remake it because I think it's been captured really, really, really well. It's like
Lego.
Yeah, man, absolutely holds up. Everything about it was really cool. Like, I mean, you can tell it's an older movie. You know, it's definitely done in that older style. But I saw nothing wrong with it. It was really good. It's a fun watch.
I love this movie. Indiana Jones is probably one of my favorite, like, all-time movies. Like, I love it. Of course it holds up. Yeah, I hope they don't remake it. I hope they don't get a burr up their butt and decide that they want to go back and redo it or try to recapture it or go back and do like a special edition or some stupid crap like that. Because this movie is it's perfect the way it is. So
I think that's a good way to describe it. The movie is perfect. And I don't mean that in the absolute literal sense, because you can always find flaws in any kind of film. But Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of those films that is so consistent. The acting is so good that perfect is about as close as you can get a word to it. The only, and to go off of the dated feeling, I think the thing that feels dated about this movie is that all of the special effects, except for the very end of it, are all practical effects. So, he's being dragged behind a literal truck. He's riding a literal horse. He's, shooting the guy in the marketplace with all these people running around. Everything is real. It's not CGI. So it has a very lived in real world kind of feel. It's good.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is one of my top 10 favorite movies for myself. Love this movie. You know, came out when I was a kid. I think I was like 6 years old, and it was a perfect age. We all played Indiana Jones when we were kids. We used to just, we even tried to drag my brother on the ground behind the bikes and whatnot. He got all scratched up. Like, it was fun times. In my opinion, the movie's flawless. There's not a line of dialogue that was didn't need to be there. There wasn't a scene that didn't need to be there. It didn't seem like it was missing anything. It was flawless from beginning to end. I love this movie. So let's see. We'll go with the Scots. Actually, we'll start with me. Why not? Favorite scene. My favorite scene was at the end where, you know, they seem disappointed and they're reaching in to and they get the sand out of the ark, and you can see the look of disappointment across all of Belloc and the Nazis' faces. And then all of a sudden, all the spookiness starts happening and the spirits start flying out everywhere. And Harrison Ford, tells Marion not to look, or well, he doesn't give a consequence. He just says, "Don't look." And of course, they don't look, and calamity ensues. And I remember when I was a kid, the face melting scene. I think we wore a hole in our VHS watching it over and over to see the face melt. So that was it for me. That last scene.
Mine, it's not just like one little scene. It's the whole market chase scene, like that, from the time where he says that she should eat a date all the way to when the car explodes. That whole scene, everything in there is just, it's great. It's got all the action. It's got just even the snippy little lines of, "You can't do this to me, I'm an American," and she's being like, like carted off in the basket, and cracking the guy over the head with the frying pan when he's got that big old knife. And I mean, just little things like that is fun. And Indy's just like looking at this guy going, "Oh man, you got this big sword," and he does this big old like thing, and then he, screw that, and he just blows the guy away and he moves on to the next thing. Like, he's just, yeah, that whole scene, I think, is like my favorite. That whole little capture of the movie.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a specific scene in the film that's my favorite, but I will say that every scene that has Belloc in it is really high quality stuff. His lines to Indiana Jones, he's the perfect foil in every way. And he's this stuck up snooty Frenchman. It's you think that the Nazis are bad guys, but you really kind of despise the Frenchman for his attitude. But he's got just great lines. Perhaps you could warn them if only you spoke Jovito. I love that. It's great stuff.
My favorite scene was the very beginning, the opening of just his adventure of getting I forgot what that thing is, the gold.
The golden idol.
The golden idol.
Yeah. When he gets that, from the beginning of the adventure to getting it to when he gets it, and then when that guy takes it from him, and then right away that guy's dead. Right away, because he forgets how everything is. And then the ball chasing him, and then when it ends right there with all the Tuskegee men just ready to spear him. That was
They're
cool.
Jovitos.
Jovitos, Webitos. But yeah, that was my favorite scene.
Dang, I feel like what's left of the movie. I really like the chase scene too. That's definitely my favorite. It's so good. It's so good. Just watching that action and like seeing him drive that big truck. I was like, hell yeah! Screw those little motorcycles. You need to get like one of those like the truck with the arc in it. Oh, so cool, so cool. So yeah, chase scene.
I liked all the action sequences, to be honest with you. It was hard to pick one out. I love them using the rocket launcher. That was pretty kick-ass. I don't know. It's like Liz stole it from the beginning. I was like, I think my favorite scene was when the whole sword thing going around. He just pulls out the pistol and is like, I don't have time for this, and just shoots him because it's so perfect. Like, that's him. That's his attitude. I don't know. That's it. I'm like, dang. I was a fan of Han Solo, but I feel like I became more a bigger fan of Indiana Jones at this point, because it's just, I don't know, it's his character, man, it's just so badass, and that little moment sums it up for me. I'm like, oh, that's it, that's who he is. He's not impressed by all that little crap. He's just looks for the simplest solution and dips out.
So herein lies the problem with us picking these blockbusters, is that we look for content with these videos, and we're picking our favorite scenes, and our most entertaining stuff that we have on Late to the Party is when we talk shit about something that we don't like. And,
well, I can definitely do that, because I was anticipating getting the question of like, what's your least favorite part of the film? So I was really paying close attention to see if I could determine a part of the film that was terrible. And honestly, it's like right there at the very beginning. You've got Indy running away from Belloc and the Jovitos, when he has them kneel before the idol, and they're chasing him through the jungle when he's trying to get back to his buddy's plane. And so the impression that you get about these natives is that they're like this primitive, like hunter-gatherer people in the South American jungles. And, they're trained with bows and like blow darts and this kind of stuff. And they killed one of the two porters with a whole bunch of these poison blow darts. And then when they're chasing Indy, they can't hit anything at all. They're like stormtroopers. There's like a scene where he you see Indy's back and he's running over a hill, and then all the Jovitos come into the scene, and like one of them shoots an arrow and it flies like way up to the left, and you're like, what the hell is he shooting at? It was like the worst shot ever. And I'm like, I remember thinking to myself, what kind of scene is this? Why didn't they film this again? The director, Spielberg looks at the little screen back then when they filmed it. He looks at it. Oh, that's good. We're moving on. And I'm like, no, you got to do that again. He's got to shoot like closer to him. It was just an awful shot, but it kind of bugged me. But after that, it was perfect.
that was a good find. I was also thinking, I was doing the same thing. I was like, man, how am I going to find something with this one? And do those U-boats just cruise around with the with the tops unlocked, so you can just like go and get inside and follow them to Nazi Island and whatnot? Like, I was like, I don't know if he could just do that, or just swim right across the ocean. Those guys went from boat to boat on a boat. Like, he must have been just like Michael Phelps, to get across and to get into the U-boat undetected. I mean, I know it's the 30s, but do they not have like
the U-boat? Where was he hiding? Like in the women's room or something?
I think he held
the
it.
U-boats they aren't that big, right?
He held his breath. He just held on top. He held his breath the whole time.
Yeah, he had his whip.
The one thing I didn't like was the music whenever Indy and what's her name got together, and you had that Princess Leia music. That was the one thing that got to me, was the Princess Leia music. I was like, fuck, dude, come on, John Williams. You could have done something for him to have his own. It doesn't have to follow him from Star Wars. Come on, man. It reminds me of Star Wars right when I start hearing that. So that was the one thing that bugged me, was the Star Wars little music. But other than that, the other music during the chasing and the fighting and everything else was perfect. It's just, I don't need Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
Can we talk about his leg strength? Like when he gets sealed in that well, and then he pushes the statue with his freaking feet and causes a statue that's been standing for thousands of years to fall over and hit the wall that conveniently has another side to it where those snakes are coming through, or he's just like, oh, wait, we're going to go through that wall where those snakes are crawling through. They just happen to be crawling through right when I'm pointing at it. And yet when they get to the other side, there isn't any more snakes.
Yeah, that one came out.
Yeah. It reminded me of that episode of The Simpsons when they're watching the crime fighting boat. Oh, I forgot what they call it. And then it's like, oh no, they're going onto land. Oh wait, there's a canal right there. It's like, oh man, there's always a canal or a stream or a river. That was just it. I was just like, I'm like, dude, and then this guy's leg strength puts everybody else to shame. I wonder what he squats.
He doesn't miss leg day at the gym.
He does not. I was like, I want that leg day regimen right there to be able to push a freaking statue with your bare feet, with your bare legs, man.
Yeah.
That was it. We were nitpicking.
I want to know how he stayed so damn clean while he was in the boat smokestack, and he was like spying on the. He was like full of coal, and he comes out looking like a fresh shower. He's like,
Well, he just swam across. Remember, he got out, and then he jumped into the water and swam to the other boat. So the ocean water got him off, cleaned him up. Because remember, he was in the thing, and then they went looking for him, and they couldn't find him. And they're like, "Oh, I found him!" And he's like climbing up the side of the U-boat. So he's clean because he swam across the ocean there. Yeah.
Good ocean
Thank
bath.
guys. The snakes, when he falls into the snake pit, you could see the plastic glass, like the plastic that separated him from the cobra that was there.
Yeah.
And the only reason why you see that is because the cobra spits, and it spits on the glass, but they're just filming it. And otherwise, you wouldn't have noticed that it was there.
I didn't catch that.
You know?
Oh,
yeah.
man.
If you go back and watch that scene, like when he comes face to face and he looks up, there's like a piece of plexiglass or something, or glass between the two of them, because they needed that cobra to get up. And the cobra spits, and the spit goes onto the glass, but you can see the reflection, and you can see that there's something that's there.
It's hard to spot though, because I was watching for that yesterday or a couple days ago when we were watching the film, and I didn't pick it up, so I didn't even notice it myself.
I didn't catch it either.
Maybe they
You know,
cleaned it
one
up,
of the things that bothered me about Indiana Jones, all of the movies in its fight scenes, he does this move where he puts his hands together and he like double axe handles guys. And when we were kids, we tried to do that move, and I don't know if we really tried it or not, but it's a very impractical martial art move that I don't think that would work on a big Arm and Hammer / Mr. Clean, angry Nazi coming after you as the plane spins. So.
Hey, that was really
I
cool.
understand how every time I try to hit my brother, it didn't make that sound of like breaking bricks. Every time you punch somebody, it sounds like he's always like hitting like a brick or wall or something every time he pounds somebody's face, every punch. And I was like, dang, that hurts, How come it didn't ever sound like that when I hit things?
Well, that's good. I'm glad we were all able to squeak out a little bit of extra content on this movie, because I when we get to the buckets, I'm sure this is gonna be a record breaking bucket stacker. So I don't know. Do we have any more comments, praises, complaints, or anything else with this movie?
What I liked too was that when he's in the school teaching and all the girls are in love with him, and that girl has "I love you" written on her eyelid. I was like, Jesus Christ.
You talk about the precision that it took for her to write so legibly on her own eyebrows, like that was on her own eyelids. That was awesome.
Yeah, for him to be able to spot that. Yeah.
That's why he's like, wait, what? I gotta do it. Or the poor slob, the one guy that was in his classroom, he had to like leave the apple on the desk in hopes that he was gonna get like a good grade. He's like walking out, he's just like he keeps toddling out. It's like the only guy you saw in the classroom.
One of the things that I appreciate about the movie, and this is when you connect it to at least the next two films in the series, is that, and of course it's because John Williams is doing the work, but you can always get this musical elite motif that takes place with regard to the Ark of the Covenant. There's this particular musical thing that happens. And it pops up again briefly in The Last Crusade, because there's an image of the Ark when they're going through the sewers, and you catch the music again at that point. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't it happen at the very beginning of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because they're in the warehouse?
Yeah,
it does.
I think it happens a little bit right there too. So I appreciate that kind of musical. I don't want to say foresight, but to connect the three films together in that way, besides the main theme.
For sure, classic John Williams.
Yeah.
And we also talk about how we relate to Indiana Jones, in the sense that when we find our arc, the thing that we're looking for when we go comic book shopping or when we go looking for statues or figures, something that we wanted so badly. And then we put it in our storage bin and put it away in our garage. And it's like, kind of like that final scene. It's like, it's in there. It's in there. I mean, I found it, but it's not important enough for me to display it. It's hidden away over there in the garage. And I was like, damn, I am Indiana Jones.
What I was waiting for was that storage unit to get sold to one of the storage wars guys, and here, yep.
That actual scene at the end of the movie, it was an actual. I don't know how well versed you guys are in actual cinema, but I took that film class I told you guys about in the horror club I was in when I was younger, and we watched Orson Welles' Citizen Kane. And that actual warehouse with all of those things in it was an homage to Citizen Kane. So I know it's a really old movie, but it's still probably regarded as the best movie of all time. I think it would be a good movie for us to try to catch
I heard
down
that
the road eventually.
boring.
Yeah.
It's black and white.
Rosebud,
It
boy.
doesn't have anything
That's
to
a
do
rough
with
one
it.
to get through.
Yeah, I
Rosebud, baby.
think I've tried to watch it, and I couldn't.
Just watch the Simpsons adaptation of it.
Can we do that
There
instead?
you go.
Well, I mean,
Oh, boy.
wouldn't that be the point, though, right? Isn't that the point of doing this? Is we're taking the old movies and we're seeing if they hold up or not, and if it does, then it does, and we'll talk about the parts we like about it, and we'll talk shit about the parts that we don't like about it, and we'll make fun
That's
of
right.
anybody who dies.
That's
So
right.
we'll save that for
Yeah,
your
just, like,
pick
tie
next
that
week.
back in there, huh?
So we'll save that for your pick next time, Nate, because this
That's right.
It's going to be down the list a little bit. You know, I think it would just as movie reviewers, it would be remiss to not eventually down the road review one of the movies that's called the greatest of all time. So
I'm down.
any other things? You've been pretty quiet on this one, Lego.
Yeah. It's a great movie, dude. It's fucking awesome.
Let's
All
go.
right. Well,
Start the buckets.
let's do the buckets. All right. We'll start with Jose, and we'll go through the cave, and then I'll caboose it.
Move the buckets. Well, I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna give it a 10, just because it influenced so much, and as a gamer, loving Uncharted and knowing that it started and it was a huge homage and love to Indiana Jones, and like I said, man, just the impact that it had, I think, on cinema and pop culture alone, for me, it makes it a 10. And it's like, for the way it stands, as Scott said, it's perfect the way it is. And honestly, man, I loved it. So it was a lot of fun. I'm really happy that I got to finally sit down and watch it. Now I can't wait to watch the sequels. And I haven't felt that in a long time. So I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10.
Nice.
I too will be giving it 10 buckets. Like I said, I watched it with my son. He's a little gamer who can't really pay attention to anything really if it doesn't catch his attention. And this movie caught his attention, and he wanted to burn through all the movies. So it also got him excited to, if Disneyland ever opens, he does want to finally go on Indiana Jones.
Nice.
So yes,
Cool.
10 buckets.
Cool.
Well, since Disneyland's not opening again, I guess that's going to be a big disappointment.
That's fine by me.
Nice. Well, big surprise. 10 out of 10 over here. It is a little bit corny. It's a little bit dated, and not everything looks beautiful. But it's a pretty damn good movie. I mean, like, it's just classic cinema, and if you look at like everything that it spawned and just what a cultural influence it's had, I mean, I feel like its tentacles have just reached into everything and just really grabbed hold. So it's 10 out of 10 for me, man. It was so much fun to watch, and I'm so glad we got to watch it again, because it's one of my favorites.
I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 because Andy's my guy. I love it. I mean, that movie, it's it's perfect. I mean, we just sat here and like kind of ragged on it a little bit, but I mean, even then it was just like small little technical things. It wasn't, it didn't really impact the story at all. I love it. It's just, it's fun. It's adventurous. It's got the romance story. It's got all of the classic like movie tropes. It's action, it's adventure, it's exotic. It's got the romance. It's got everything in it, and it's well acted. I mean, they got great actors to be in even the most like the minute roles of like the two Nazi guys, not the main guy that burns his hand, but even the two other guys that are hanging around, and the monkey, and even the monkey, and even the monkey. Yeah, I mean, so it's just, and it's great. It's perfect. I love it. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 10 out of 10. I think for the quality of the film, the fact that it endures over time, the fact that it's influenced so many things, it really is the icon of that kind of filmmaking. So it's easy to give this one a 10.
Oh, for me, 10 for sure, definitely. I remember when I was working in Tustin, Harrison Ford came into my restaurant, and I was so like starstruck that I just kind of stood there looking at him, and I didn't say anything to him. In my mind, I was trying to, but I couldn't break out of my like I am right now. I'm even talking about it. I can't even speak. So, and he comes in, he says his name is Jack. He gets his sandwich and he leaves. And I tell the team, dude, that was Harrison Ford. And at that time, my crew was either too young or at the risk of being offensive, too Mexican to know who Harrison Ford was. And I'm like, how do you not fucking know? That's Han Solo. That's Indiana Jones. Like, how do you not know who Harrison? I was like, you know what? All of you guys are fucking fired, man. Like, and I had to go and sit in the office, and I was like trying to go onto the security cameras and get a picture of him and try to squeak me into it somehow, but I wasn't able to pull it off. But that was a momentous occasion for me. I wish I would have like got a selfie or something. I don't know if he would have did it or not, but it would have been great.
Pictures.
He would have given you the same reaction he gave Bruno.
Please elaborate.
You never watched Bruno when he has his exclusive interview with Harrison Ford. Oh, hi, Harrison Ford. Fuck off.
Well, speaking of Disneyland, when they had the Indiana Jones ride open, when it opened, they had the employee like cast like exclusive day, and they had all of the actors and stuff that was there. And I gotta see if I know we took pictures that day, but because the Harrison Ford was there, and Spielberg and Lucas and John Rice Davies, because he's actually in the ride too. Sala's there, giving us our seatbelt instructions, even though we would have never known what a seatbelt was. And yeah, that was a lot of fun too, having to go on the ride when it was first new and opened, and kicking back and having a little bit of a party time with the actors and stuff. It was a lot of fun. That's where I got my Indiana Jones hat. They were giving out hats out to the kids at the time, and I was still qualified as a kid.
I was about to ask, what was the cutoff age for children?
Yeah, well,
back then it was probably 12 and under.
No, I was in my 20s.
Don't lie.
Scary, so I guess
you went full Vargas. You told him you had a friend.
That's what I was gonna say. I was thinking you could bust a Jose and try to simple jack your way into some kind of.
No, I didn't have to do that. I was just charming.
She simple jacked it.
All right, so Raiders of the Lost Ark, that was our blockbuster. As we pass the baton to the Scots, hope you guys all enjoyed that. Our last choice for me, at least on this round. And I'm passing the baton to you guys. So you guys are going to get to host the show next week as well. So you guys get to say the intro and come up with whatever questions if you're going to do something a little bit different, you might want to preface us with it, so that way we can think about whatever we need to think about.
No, I'll just keep it fresh and new.
We're
Big
gonna
surprise.
but we're gonna be in a different room.
That's right.
next time.
We're going to be in a different state.
We'll be in a
next
different
week's.
state when we film next week's.
It'll be fun.
We'll be in
Awesome.
the great state of Tennessee.
So,
All right.
well,
So what are we doing?
you passed the baton, and I wanted to make it just a little bit interesting by presenting all of you guys with the option of genres before I tell you the movies. I wanted to go with two genres, either a fantasy genre or a war genre. So I'll let you guys decide if you want to see a fantasy movie or a war movie.
For me, I would like to go with fantasy because I think that I'm not trying to. There's enough war on the streets right now. I want to kind of use this to have some fun. So like my vote's for fantasy.
Eric?
I'm all about war. I
Isaac.
just want to go
Mr.
against.
Conflict.
I just want to go against you, so I'm gonna say war.
Fun.
I don't know what you talking about, man. I've been living these streets. I'll go with war.
Ooh.
Oh, 2-1 for fantasy. All right, Lego.
I'm going with fantasy. Come on, guys.
Yeah, Lego.
I mean,
That means Liz has to do the tiebreaker.
I was gonna say,
And I
like,
but I don't know what movies he picked. He wouldn't tell me, so I don't know what's either of the categories. I'm gonna go with fantasy.
Fantasy.
all right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
This means war.
That's right.
All right. So I checked all these movies. They're all more than 10 years old. In fact, they're more than 20 years old.
Oh,
Uh,
God.
But the three fantasy movies that I picked for you guys to choose from, first of all, is Conan the Barbarian, a classic.
What is best in
Yeah.
life?
That's right. Willow.
Well,
I knew somebody was gonna do that.
And the last one, this might not be one that you guys are familiar with, but the 13th Warrior.
oh, that one's good too.
Antonio Banderas.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So Vikings, little people, or barbarians.
Yeah.
Magical midgets. Oh wow.
Magical midgets.
Conan's
What
the
is
one
it,
with the governor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, I kind of like that one.
You never seen Conan?
I've never watched it. No.
My
Oh,
wife
then I'm
loves
voting for
the
Conan.
My wife loves the Conan movies, so I'm gonna choose Conan because I've been watching all the movies with her.
Isn't
I'm
he
in for
shirtless? I
Conan,
don't think it's the story she's looking at, buddy.
She likes. Nah, if she was about muscle, she wouldn't be with me.
Oh, man.
It is a fantasy movie, my friend.
You're
Up
gonna
in
like it.
Adam.
There's boobies.
That's right.
There's boobies.
There is. I'm going with Conan.
Conan, damn.
All right. So we've got two for Conan. And what else? Who else?
Lego.
I'm in for Conan. You guys sold me.
Oh.
It's a little bit war too, right? We get some war action, I think.
Kinda.
There's some battle in it. Well, I mean, any fantasy movie worth its weight has some battle in it. So
Nice.
That's true.
Yeah, for sure. I'm all about Conan. I even
All
have
right.
it. So
there you go. It's Conan the Barbarian, 1982.
where's it at?
According to my research, you can find it on Hulu and Amazon.
Cool.
Awesome.
Excellent.
And if anybody needs a copy, let us know and I'll bring it tomorrow because we have it on DVD. So if you guys would rather do it that way. we can burn out the
DVD?
DVD. Yeah. Or maybe it's Blu-ray.
I don't know. One of
Ah,
those.
Blu-ray. Okay.
VHS. At one time, I owned
VHS.
That's right.
I used to have that little card that you would put it in. You would erase it like to rewind,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
or they would charge you 50 cents for the movies when you returned them. That was
Right.
a ripoff.
Be kind and rewind.
There you go. Conan.
There you have it,
Oh, yeah.
ladies
So
and
you guys
gentlemen,
will have
boys
to
and girls.
ask what's best in life, huh?
Yes.
All right, sorry.
Well, you're all right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there you have it. Conan coming next week, hosted by the Scotts, or hosted by Josh Scott, because Liz will have her own deal, and you can pass the baton to whoever you want next week, Josh. Yeah, whoever you like. So for Collection Connection, late to the party reviews. Signing off. I'm Nate the Great.
I'm
Jake.
Liz.
And Josh.
I'm Isaac.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Jose.
See you next week.
Up in
Bye.
Adam.
Up in Atta.